Sisvi. Hi, GP. Who gets enlightened? What is the connection between body and mind? Wow. I wish I knew you better than I could formulate the answer more particularly, because it really, the answer to that question is really depends on who I'm talking to. So I'm gonna put it into the absolute. Who gets enlightened? Nobody. Enlightenment is the realization that there is no person, and that nothing has been attained, nothing has been lost. So Huang Po, a 13th century Zen master, said, all the Buddhas and all the sentient beings are nothing but the one mind, and nothing else exists. There is no Buddha. There is no deluded being. He goes on to talk about the overcoming the mistake of there being any substance or reality to the difference between enlightened and deluded. They're both concepts projected upon experience. Experience is neither enlightened nor deluded. It just is. Every quality we give it, like he's an enlightened guy, he's not, right, is pure projection of the mind. Right? They don't exist. There is no Buddha. There is no Mara. There is no God. There is no devil. These are all concepts projected on what? The experience. And what is being experienced? Yourself. They're all concepts projected on yourself. From here, you can see the connection between the body and mind is there is no connection between body and mind, because to be in connection, there had to be two. There's only mind. Mind with a capital M. Mind in the way Buddhists used mind, not in the way we most often use it now, which refers to the psychological mind, or thinking and thought processes and beliefs and that sort of thing. When you hear the Buddhists talk about the one mind, they're talking about pure consciousness, pure awareness. And so everything is mind. There is no such thing as a body. It is simply a concept projected upon experience. You don't need that concept. You're experiencing all this stuff, and there's a thought that says there's a body here that's experiencing it. If you look closely, you'll find you don't experience a body. You experience a bunch of what we call sensations. And there's a thought, an assumption that those sensations are originating from a form. But you don't see a form, you see sensations, right? Look at any of those sensations and tell me if in the sensation itself there's proof, indisputable evidence that that sensation originates in the body, in a body that exists independently of the sensations. You only experience sensation. And if you only experience sensation, that means sensation by definition is originating from a body. Then there are no sensations, there's only perceptions. And you're walking up the scale of the 5 skandhas, which is another Buddhist teaching. Okay. So there is no body as an objective fact. There's the experience of the body, a concept of the body, fine. The moment I say it's an objective fact, I introduce suffering into the mix. If it's not, then it's just a flow of energy, and I'm free. So I don't have to seek enlightenment. There are no enlightened beings. D.T. Suzuki, the famous Zen master, said, there are no enlightened beings, there's only enlightened moments. So who gets enlightened? Your heart, the question you're answering is coming from your heart, which is longing to be free. And you've encountered enough of the Dharma to understand that that's what enlightenment means. Right? But now we have to stop seeing enlightenment as a state that you attain, right, which puts it out there somewhere, and recognize that it is you right, oops, excuse me, that it is you right now, and there's only a thought that you're not. That's it. Only the thought. Let go of the thought that you're anything other than the Buddha self, and it's game over. Now, we've associated and given all sorts of meaning to enlightenment. We've associated, the big events, right? The Ramana Maharshis or Buddha, the great myth story of Buddha under the Bodhi tree, which is primarily mythological. I mean, really, he really did do it. There really was a person, but a lot of the story around it is illustrative. It's mythological. It's supposed to be historical. So if you put aside all of the expectations of all the stories that you've heard, so you're not dealing with anything except your own experience, you'll find enlightenment is already present. In fact, enlightenment or awakening is what's hearing my words right now. Enlightenment is simply consciousness, that which is aware, completely freed of all conceptual thought. Give up all conceptual thought about enlightenment, that is, about yourself. To study Zen is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. I went all the way to the absolute on that one. Hopefully I read you right and that you were ready for that. Robin Pepper, I find myself in stillness, listening to the singing birds. Found myself in stillness, listening to the singing birds yesterday. I finally allowed myself to feel and think the thoughts I've had towards a few of my most intimate relationships without judging. Oh. It as bad as usually I default to, without judging it as badly as I usually default to. I sat and wept in the loving freedom of it all. Oh. I so appreciate you, GP. He continued pointing his head at profound impact on my experience. Oh, thank you, Robin. That's the enlightened moment. When the heart opens and you find places in you that were still in bitterness and pain, maybe regret, and suddenly it's lessened. It doesn't even have to be gone, but it's lessened. It's like something has opened. Something is freeing itself. That's enlightenment, folks. That's awakening. That's it. And nothing's really awakening. The clouds are just clearing away. Our vision is just totally fogged, right? Minds are cluttered. Does that mean mind is impure? Or there's just clutter there? And you're looking at the thoughts. Is the consciousness that's looking at the thoughts any less the consciousness? If it's looking at beautiful scene or at horrible scene, if it's having a wonderful memory or a terrible memory, is the consciousness itself any different? We just have these ideas that somehow enlightenment means this is all bliss and none of this happens. Not true. Enlightenment is recognizing that all of it is the self. All of it is emerging. The consciousness that knows this and the consciousness that knows that, in all of its opposites, is the same, which means it's beyond opposites, isn't it? It's nothing that you can pinpoint. Nothing, no description can capture it. But yet you just were it. This is the experience. It's nothing out there. It's this. It's this moment of the heart opening and weeping. That's it. Let me open all their heads and just kind of pound it in. Oh, Robin, thank you. That does my heart so much good. Oh, makes me so happy to hear that.